Well, Gemma, thank you so much for being on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. I am thrilled to have you here. Like I said, you're the first yoga person that I've ever had on the podcast. So I'm really intrigued about what you're going to tell us about yoga. Before we get started talking about yoga and all of those little good things that you really want to teach us, why don't you just introduce yourself and tell us about you and what you really do within the yoga practice?
Hello, how are you? Hope everyone's okay. So I'm Gemma and I have been teaching for 6 years now. My other main job was a veterinary nurse, but I just needed to come away from that really because I've got 2 children and that kind of job didn't really fit around yoga. So then I became a teacher. Well, I started practicing, I don't know, it must have been when was it, 2007, when we went traveling backpacking around the world, and I saw a couple of people doing yoga on the beach in Thailand and thought, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. So I bought a book in Malaysia when we got to Malaysia, like an idiot's guide to yoga. And then when we got to New Zealand, I bought a yoga mat and I've just been hooked really. It's amazing. And I just feel that yoga just can be brought into anyone's lives, and just even if you're a mum or an entrepreneur or a massive business person, anybody can do it. So I just fell in love with it, and now it works around my children and my life. And I'm really loving it. Actually, I'm really just enjoying my life at the moment and how it is, and taking the yoga business online as well, so it's more accessible to everybody else. Carry on.
Sorry, no, that's fantastic. I think the thing that we want to talk about today is how to relieve stress in your daily life, and particularly for those who are entrepreneurs, who's running full steam all the time. But before we start talking about how to relieve stress in your life using yoga as a medium, what kind of did yoga do for you as well when you started practicing it, and how did that kind of transform your life?
I suppose when we came back from traveling, I was always a runner. I was a really keen runner, and I've got really dodgy hips. I've got hip dysplasia. So I went to a chiropractor and she said, you can't really do running anymore. It's too, I don't know, I suppose it's too bouncy on your hips, and running is just not for me. But I was determined. I was like, no, I still want to do running. And then I took up yoga and thought, oh, this is amazing. This is such a good way of having yoga and running at the same time. So I would always stretch after running and do lots of hip exercises and things like that. So then I was running alongside yoga with that as well. And I just thought it's just so easy to incorporate. And I just really loved how it made me feel, as well as going out for a run. That was really good. But just to have a good stretch in the morning, just to wake up, roll out of bed and just get on your mat. Sometimes I'll have my mat right next to the bed so I can just roll out of bed and do it. And then half the time the kids run on me and jump on me, and then they want to do yoga as well. But it's really nice just to have that mindset as well, just to be calm. And with the breathing exercises that I teach and do myself, I just feel so much calmer. Especially running a household and it's really busy sometimes and the kids are running around and it's just screaming, and you need that time, you need that 5 minutes of just me time, and yoga's really helped me with that. And I think just because I'm so passionate about it, I've kind of found my niche in life, and I just want to pass it to everybody and I want them to feel how I feel. If you know what I mean.
So at what point really did you decide, I'm going to turn this into a business? Because let's face it, this is a part of the fact that you enjoy doing it, which is amazing. It's your passion. It's the niche that you've discovered. You've obviously now used this and converted into a business as well. So at what point did you really kind of figure out, like, I can actually do this and create a business for myself and have an income from it?
I've been teaching for 6 years, and that was kind of like a extra sideline as a hobby to the veterinary nurse. And then when I had my second child, so she's 2.5, I dropped then down to 2 days of nursing. She was always at nursery as well, like 3 days a week. And then I then started, I suppose last year really, I thought, right, I'm going to drop down to 1 day a week veterinary nursing and just concentrate on teaching yoga. So my Wednesdays are now, I teach 6 classes on a Wednesday, and then my Fridays as well, I'm teaching Fridays as well as every evening during the week. So I think I'm teaching about 12 classes a week, so I'm pretty busy with that.
Amazing.
But yeah. But I thought, right, this year, like 2020, I want to get my business more online and have more online clientele, and to drop completely away from nursing. As much as I still love it, I think my passion is now this, and it works easier around my home life. So yeah, I just thought, last year, the end, probably October, November time, I thought, right, we can do this now. And also we never really have been able to do it before, because we've only just had fibre put into the road. We're quite behind in our little area where we are. So we've been able to now do videos and things like that at home and upload them, and then not take forever to upload. So I thought, yeah, now I can do it. Yeah.
And I think it's going to be an amazing experience for you as well. It's taking all your levels of expertise, all your experience, and putting that together in an online program, which we're going to talk about later on as well. And just making it available internationally for anybody who wants to learn more about, you know, adapting to yoga and using it in their lives on a daily basis.
Yes, definitely.
So let's talk about how to use yoga and what are the benefits of yoga really in order to relieve stress from your daily life.
Okay, so how I feel about this is just to bring in some general breathing techniques, and there are quite a few different ones, but the main one I use is called square breathing, or there's another one called pranayama, and it's just bringing your attention to your mind and to your breath. Usually in everyday life we don't really tend to breathe how we should do. We're always very shallow breathing, and then when you actually do take quite a big deep breath in and a deep breath out, you think, oh wow, I feel good now. So, and also a lot of people will always have their shoulders up right by their ears and just feel really tense and tight. And until you kind of close your eyes and go to a space in like your busy lifestyle, or just taking a breath in a line, if you're queuing up for something, I don't know, like in the post office or something like that, just to gently close your eyes and take a big deep breath in and really feel your lungs, and then a big deep breath out through your mouth, you're really noticing how you're feeling. And also generally when I teach the beginning and the end of the class, I'll always get everybody to lay down or sit up wherever they're comfortable and just take 5 minutes of breathing, closing your eyes and just letting go. So every inhale I'll say let, and then every exhale I'll say go. And just that let go, you automatically notice how much you're just letting go of. I know that sounds weird, but it is really weird. It is amazing if you just do that and say to yourself, let go, and your whole body just relaxes and you just feel so nice.
It's interesting that you're saying that. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but it's so interesting that you're saying that. And I don't do yoga, but I do meditation every morning. And I use that same kind of principle. And it is so true what you're saying, because I experience it as well. When I do my meditation in the morning, I do deep breathing exercises. And whenever something stressful pops in my mind, or I'm thinking, oh, I've got to do this today, and I'm going, no, bring it back to the breathing. And it immediately relieves that kind of stress or that tension that's building up, anxiety, those kind of things that you're thinking about, things that are happened in the past, things that are you thinking about that might happen in the future. It is so amazing how the breathing techniques just help you in that moment at that time. So I can completely relate to what you're saying.
That's good.
What are the other breathing exercises? What are the other breathing exercises as well that you recommend?
There's one called square breathing. So that really allows your lungs to inflate. So what we normally do is breathe in for 4 counts, so counting quite slowly up to 4, and then holding your breath for 4 counts, so you've got a really inflated lung capacity, and then really holding that, and then slowly exhaling again for 4 counts, and then holding your breath, so you've got no breath in your lungs, for another 4 counts, and then doing that 3 times. So it's like a square that you will breathe in and out of, holding your breath for 4 counts, and that is really, really good to just increase lung capacity. It's also really good for swimmers actually, and divers, because you're getting more oxygen to the actual little tiny capillaries in your lungs, and that then brings your mind back to normal as well. And I really love that. I teach that quite a lot in my yoga classes. And then there's also another one called Ujjayi breathing, which is for another type of yoga. It's called vinyasa, which I absolutely love teaching. That's my main one that I love. It's more fast flowing, fitness based, but the breathing to that is really good. So you breathe in through your nose, and it's like you're huffing up a mirror. If you're trying to blow onto your hands, like you're trying to make that noise, and then you close your mouth and try and breathe out again, making that noise. And it's like you're closing off your epiglottis at the top of your throat. So it's called ocean breath as well. And that's a really nice, calming, warming breath. And I teach that quite a lot in my Ashtanga Vinyasa classes. But for stress relieving, I think the main one is just pranayama. So just normal, gentle breathing, really concentrating on your in-breath and your out-breath, and just letting go of everything. So I normally say as well, just relax from your forehead, your cheekbones, unclenching your jaw, and bringing your tongue away from the roof of your mouth. Because a lot of people, until you say that, they will think, oh yeah, my tongue is actually at the roof of my mouth, and I don't really realize it. And oh yes, I'm clenching my jaw. So when you actually have your mouth open slightly, you then do release, and then your shoulders pushing down, either if you're sitting up, just pushing down away from your ears, or pushing slightly underneath you if you're lying down. And that can really help a lot of tension and just releasing stress. So yeah, just kind of thinking 2 or 3 times a day, or if you've got so much going on that you need to get these deadlines sorted, just closing your eyes, even if you're at the office desk as well, closing your eyes and just really big, deep breathing in. So at least your shoulders and your whole body is sitting upright, and your shoulders are upright, and then letting go and just noticing everything collapsing. And that really brings everything back to normal as well. So yeah, I'd really recommend doing that.
That is fantastic. Thank you so much for saying that, because I think, what you're saying in particular is because we breathe every day, but we take it so for granted. We sometimes forget that we need to breathe correctly.
Yes,
so these kind of exercises that you've just spoken about are so good for us to try and consciously think about doing them in order to relieve stress, whether it is something that you do on a ritual basis, as with meditation or with yoga, or whether it is just at that moment in time when you realize, I need to take deep breaths in order to get rid of this stressful situation or anxiety creeping up. Now, talk to us about the yoga movements, because apart from the breathing, I know that there are the yoga movements as well. What are the benefits about doing yoga for the body when doing those kind of movements?
The whole body is so tense, mostly especially in Western world as well. We are so stressed and we don't really realize it. And how stress comes out in me, I don't feel sometimes really stressed out. I won't shout at the kids or anything like that. I don't know. But when I was doing my exams, I remember my hair falling out, and that was my stress, how my stress was coming out in my body, if you know what I mean. And so it can be completely related to any kind of stress. So doing yoga poses will bring your whole body and your mind back into itself, especially when we're doing our 5 minutes of relaxation at the beginning of the class. I'll just say to everybody, bring your mind and bring your thoughts and your mind into your body. So you're not concentrating about anybody else, you're letting your thoughts go, you're letting any to-do lists go, and you're just completely concentrating on your body. And then the movements with the breath as well. So inhaling, we're going to move to, I don't know, like a warrior 2 pose. So that's a really strong pose to do. And it makes you fierce and it makes you really powerful and strong. And then to move on an exhale, maybe to downward dog or something like that. So you are connecting the poses to yoga. And most of the time, I will always talk about shoulders, because everybody feels like their shoulders are always up by their ears all the time. And until I say, okay, move your shoulders down away from your ears, everyone then just like, okay, I'm moving down. And just every yoga pose is just amazing. Like forward folding, standing forward fold is really good for lower back issues, because you're lengthening through your spine, you're letting everything hang, your head, your shoulders, all of your vertebrae are just falling forwards. And usually with everyday life, again, we are always slouching or we're folding forwards in a way that we shouldn't do. And coming back to the main one is called mountain pose. So you're just standing there, straight up, straight back, reaching through the crown of your head and just grounding down, having your feet slightly, I suppose, hip distance apart, and just standing there and really rooting down towards the floor, and just bringing your attention completely into your body. So different yoga poses. I really love child's pose, especially for stress relieving. So you're coming down onto your knees and then pushing your hips backwards towards your heels, so big toes are touching, and then walking your hands forwards, so you've got a big stretch out. And then in classes I'll come round and stretch out your spine, and everybody, it's just like a little gentle pressure in your spine, just trying to spread out your vertebrae. And to do that, you should really do that 5 minutes every day, because that's a really good stress reliever as well. It just creates space in your chest and your tummy, and also relieves stress in your hips, because there's so much stress kept in your hips. A lot of people will say it's in your shoulders, but most of the time it is in your hips. Or you can bring your hands to hug your heels, so you're drooping your shoulders over your knees, and that's a really, really nice one to do. There's so many different, I suppose, sequences that you can do, like 5-10 minute sequences, just to get moving, really, even just gentle ones. I do teach chair yoga for the elderly on a Wednesday, and they absolutely love that. I love teaching them. But that's just really gentle stuff. So we'll just do neck stretches, so lifting your head up and down, left to right, rolling your head, and then shoulder rolls, just moving your shoulders, and just getting to know your body. A lot of people don't really connect with their body and don't really know much about their body, but if you're in tune with it, you will know what's going on. And I feel sometimes as well that you should, well, the NHS here, I feel that they should bring holistic stuff more into it, instead of giving everybody drugs, but that's just my opinion. Or unless people just want to go out there and find the other approach, of which yoga is one of them, and meditation, and just to connect with your body more, really.
Gosh, that is fantastic. I'm so glad you're saying that. Another question that I want to ask you, because I'm not a yoga fanatic, I know the benefits of yoga, but for so many of the listeners who are thinking, you know what, I've been thinking about starting yoga and doing yoga, but I'm scared to do that because the poses look so daunting and it looks like really difficult stuff. I'm not quite fit enough in order to do yoga. What would your suggestion be for somebody who's a complete newbie, who wants to start yoga, but they're kind of fearful of just, starting really and not quite sure, I'm going to go into this class as an example, or I'm not going to be able to do the moves. People are going to look at me and thinking, oh my gosh, you can't do the moves. And what are you doing here? So there's all kind of like those barriers that people would put up in front of them in order to basically stop them from doing and having those benefits. What are your starting points? What would your suggestions or your tips be in order to get started?
Well, come along, definitely. Especially I've had quite a few this January wanting to start, and they've never done it before at all. So I'll always say, come along and just come in comfy clothes. You don't have to have the latest yoga gear, that's for sure. And there are use of blocks, and we use straps or resistance bands as well. So especially someone in, I suppose, seated forward fold. So you're laying down, sitting up with your legs out the front, and I say try and reach to touch your toes. That don't go too far that you can't, you're just feeling a stretch in the backs of your legs. And a lot of people are so tight in their hamstrings that they can't touch their toes, and that's absolutely fine. You're trying to work to your own boundaries and slightly past your own boundaries. And yes, in yoga, especially in the Western world, there's this stigma that to be a yoga person, a yogi, you have to be stick thin, you have to be really bendy and flexible. That's not the case. You can just come, and if you're not flexible, that's fine. You don't need to be, and you're working to your own boundaries. and you need to kind of shop around and find a teacher that you like as well. Yoga teachers won't be put off by if you come to their class and it's not for you. That's absolutely fine. And you just need to feel the connection with that yoga teacher, that they're going to teach you the right moves and how you feel. Yes, there are, well, in my classes anyway, I'll say, okay, we'll do, I don't know, a downward dog. But if you feel that you can't do that, I'll give you props to do or an easier version to do. I'll always start off with the easier version, and then we'll go, if you want to advance this pose, you can then move to whichever. So a lot of teachers will do that, I think. Start with the basics, and then you say, if you want to advance it, you can do. Another example would be bridge pose. So coming onto your back and having your knees hip distance apart, feet flat down. And then some people just go into bridge, so pushing up, releasing or lifting up your vertebrae, coming up and squeezing your glutes. Other people will go into wheel pose, so what we used to call it as crab, I think, at school, and that's more advanced. But if you want to, then I will just come round. I'll always say, if anybody wants help, then wave. I will always go round as well and adjust people. So if they feel that they're not in the right, or I feel that they're not in the right position, then I can move them slightly. And I'll always say at the beginning, don't worry if you don't want to be touched, just fold over your yoga mat or wave at me or give me a little signal, so nobody knows that you don't want to be touched. I know there's been a big thing on all the yoga things at the moment as to, do we touch people, do we adjust people, do we not? So a lot of people I've been asking actually in classes, do people want to be touched and do people not? And a lot of them say they do, because then they know that they're in the right yoga pose. But some don't, and that's absolutely fine. As a teacher, you should respect your people in your class. But yeah, as a newbie, it's quite daunting as well coming into a class, especially in January. You think, oh my gosh, there's going to be 20 odd people and they're all going to be amazing. But they're just like you. They're not, they're just in their own zone, and no, they're not looking at you, and you should just come along and just try it out. And if you don't get on, then that's fine. You find something else that you want to do, or go to another yoga class and do. There's so many different varieties of yoga. I kind of would say start with hatha first. So that's like the basic poses. You get to know the breathing techniques and the general poses, and then move on to something more where it says intermediate or advanced, or just stick with hatha if you really like it. So yeah.
Do you have any success stories from some of your students where they've come back to you and said, oh my gosh, I just love doing this yoga. It has made such a difference. I feel so much more relief from stress or anxiety. Have you had any success stories where people come back and, just tell you how much they appreciate it?
Yeah. I have a lady, I've been teaching her, must be since the start actually, about 6 years. And she's always suffered with back issues and also stress as well. And I think within sort of 4-6 months, or maybe even earlier than that actually, she came to me and she said, oh my gosh, yoga is amazing, you've really helped my back. She doesn't have any back issues now at all. And that's really good. As a teacher, you feel, oh, that's really amazing that I'm actually helping someone. And she was on a lot of medication and now she's not on anything, and I teach her once a week. And just to pass on that knowledge of just to actually figure out where someone's hurting and trying to send or give them poses to do that will release that tightness and tension. And then there's another a guy actually. Most classes, it's really strange, most classes are women based, and I want more men in the classes. We need more men, so come on, men. But there was a guy, he was really stressed out. He has a London job and in an office, and he's got a lot of deadlines, and he's been with me about a year now, I suppose. And I think the first class he came to, he was really struggling, as in like he didn't know what to do, and was coming because he was so stressed out, and somebody said that yoga would really help. So he came to the class, and from the first lesson he was hooked and really loved it. And he now brings his breathing techniques. So if he's on the commute, on the train, he'll sit there and do his breathing techniques. And especially when he's coming back home again, or especially late at night when he's still working, and he shouldn't be, but he is. And he does his breathing techniques just before bed, but also just a few gentle stretches. And that's really helped him as well. And I think a lot of people sit funny or sit on the the desk chairs. A lot of offices now are tending to have standing desks, and that's really helping. And yeah, especially with him as well, he had quite a lot of lower back issues and hip issues from just sitting all day. And I said to him, maybe go for a walk at lunchtime, do 5 minutes of stretching in the park, get outside and do some yoga outside in the fresh air. And yeah, he came back a completely different person in the afternoon from doing that. And he loves it now. He absolutely loves it. He came with his wife, but then his wife had an injury and couldn't come back, I don't think, so for a while. But yeah, I just thought, oh, it's just so nice having that kind of communication and helping somebody, just to, even if it's just one person that I'm helping, at least I'm helping that one person.
That's fantastic. Talk to us a little bit about your signature program, because like we said earlier on, you're now starting to move more online rather than having everything in a studio. You're now starting to teach in an online program. So talk to us about your program and explain us a little bit about how it works.
Okay, so it's a 10-week program that you sign up to, and every week I will either communicate with you via video link or on the phone, whichever's easiest for you, and I'll fit around you to do that one video link a week. Or if you can't fit it in, then I will speak to you and personally get from you what you actually need to, what you want to work on, what you think you need to work on areas in your body, like in your hips or your back or your shoulders, or if you want meditation. And then I can then do a personalized video for you for that 1 hour, and then send it across to you, and you do that yoga video however many times you want to during that week. And then the week after, we'll then get back again on the call and see how you got on, see what you need help with. Or we can do a one-to-one online session that I can teach, and I can follow you, I can watch you doing what you're doing. So yeah, it's just like a yoga class but online.
That is
I'm really
fantastic.
helping you doing that.
I've never come across anybody who does something like that. Normally it is a membership or a program that you sign up to, and you get a whole bunch of videos that you can just all watch and follow in a sequence. So I really like this, the fact that you're still customizing it to the individual, to what their requirements are and what they particularly want. And I think that is amazing. So well done, and thank you for offering that, and obviously letting everybody know about that. Now there's something else that you have as well, that you talk, you said you've created or designed these eye masks, which is really good, and I want to know more about that, because
they're amazing.
I think I could benefit.
Well, what was it? It must have been about 2 years ago that I really liked the idea of being in Shavasana, which is relaxation, so 10 minutes or meditation at the end of the class, and I wanted to buy some lavender eye masks for that. And I was thinking, oh, I don't know, I was looking up prices and looking at them. I thought they were all about £15 to £20 each, and I thought I needed 20 for my classes, and I thought I can't spend that amount on eye masks. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try and make some. So I got my auntie involved, she's a seamstress, and we did a couple, and that really worked. And I thought, oh, perfect, I can actually do this. So I'm now doing it on my own. I don't really need to have a sewing machine, because I can do it by hand, and I can just fit it in, making them around the kids and stuff while I'm watching TV. And I thought, instead of having lavender oil on it, I can actually put little bags of lavender inside. So yeah, they just kind of fit across your face, and there's a strap at the back that you can have, an elastic strap, and the pressure from that will then bring just there's a little bit of pressure on your eyes, which then calms you down. And especially lavender as well, that really, really relaxes and brings, there's so much research into how lavender is amazing at sleep and calming. And so yeah, included in that in the signature program, you get one of those as well. I'll post out to you. But they are available on my website at £10 each. So yeah, I'm just kind of making those and selling them as well, really. I've only just put them online, but yeah, quite all my yogis really love them at the end. So they're like, yes, please, can have one.
I think it's such a great idea as well.
And they're really soft as well. They're made of cotton.
So just to conclude everything that we've discussed here, well, first of all, how to use yoga to relieve stress in your daily lives? If you're a female entrepreneur, we know that your day is busy. We know that you're
Yes.
running around like crazy. So
Yeah.
what Gemma is basically saying is starting off with the breathing exercises is a really good way to start relieving some of that tension and stress, whether
Yes.
you're in a situation at that moment in time, or whether you're just bringing it as part of a daily habit where you're doing meditation in the morning, or you're actually starting to do yoga in your daily routines, just bringing that in and just consciously think about your breathing, about what it is that you're doing. Now, the one thing that Gemma also really spoke about is just bringing everything together as well with your body movement, doing some stretching exercises. So yoga is definitely a good thing for you to think about, to use on a daily basis to start relieving stress. And yes, if you're just starting out, it is not going to be perfect. It is going to be over repetition and consistency only that you're going to start getting better. Your muscles will start recognizing the movements a bit better. Your breathing will start increasing, moving the oxygen throughout your body, making things easier as you move along. And especially if you have certain ailments, back problems, hip problems, whatever kind of ailments you have when it comes to joints, certain movements, think about yoga as well and find a good teacher who can actually help you, because that would just relieve some of those aches and pains as well as you progress and as you move that. And Gemma, jump in here if I'm saying anything wrong, but that's kind of like the conclusion from what we've spoken about here today. So I found it very, very helpful, and particularly to use it for in our daily lives, and just to make it one of those things that we shouldn't really skip, because our bodies are so sacred and we really need to look after ourselves in order to maintain and keep on moving on with our business or with our normal lives. So for any of you who are interested in order to learn more about yoga, whether you go and do your own research, I highly actually suggest that you get in touch and you contact Gemma. She's got her signature online program starting. And she would love for you to take part in it. You know, like she said, it's a very one-to-one customized for what it is that you need or what you want to get out of yoga at the end of the day. So it's not just a normal program, a video that you're following. So everything that we've discussed here, the signature online program, the link will be below in my show notes. So you can obviously go and have a look there. And also, if you want to go and check out what Gemma is up to, go on her Instagram. Follow her. She's got great videos going out every single day about yoga poses, what you need to do and how it benefits you. And then also Gemma's website will be in my show notes. So please go and have a look there. And then by all means, get in touch with Gemma. I'm sure she would love to hear from you. Gemma, thank you so much again for being here on the Entrepreneurial Success Podcast. Like I said, I was really excited to have you here because normally I have everybody talking about strategies, business tips, but we've never really brought somebody in to talk to us about relieving some of the stress and the anxiety about our daily lives in entrepreneurship in particular. So thank you so much for coming in and sharing this with us. I really appreciate you, and we'll definitely be in touch in the future again.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.